Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of True Offseason, where we cover everything that happens on the NFL offseason, or at least the things that are important. And we've gotten through our division by division rankings. We've gotten through a lot of different offseason news. There's the rest of the preseason that's coming through as all these different teams figure out their 53-man rosters. But that we wanted to do something special. We wanted to do a little bit of a power rankings. And of course, when I say we, I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about Chase Oliver. Sir, how are you doing this fine day?
Oh man, week 0 starts, John. We got college football coming up. Oh my God, this is a beautiful day, man. I think there's a game tonight. I want to say there's one tonight. Happy week
Probably.
0.
I wouldn't be.
West Virginia, I think, is playing tonight or something. I don't know. Oh no, they're all tomorrow on Saturday. Bummer, but very happy.
When's that Dublin game?
That will be at 9 a.m. You can get that on ESPN. And then if you care about the other games, Fresno State takes on Kansas on Fox, Sam Houston and Western Kentucky on CBS Sports Network. And if you have CBS or Paramount Plus, you can watch Stanford Cardinals versus Hawaii. I'm going to be watching that. That is some Pac-12 after dark madness right there. The only game that kind of stinks is Idaho State and UNLV. Like the only interest is that UNLV has like a new coach, new system, and stuff, and they're probably one of the best sleeper teams in college football this year. They play in the Mountain West, won by Boise State and Ashton Genty last year. Boise State, did well in the transfer portal, has a good team again. Like they should win the Mountain West, but if there's a team that could sneak up and do well against Boise State, it could be UNLV. So,
I mean, yeah, but one of the things that we like to see, especially at least for me, for college football, is seeing how it's going to translate for people in the NFL. Because ultimately that's where people are trying to go, right? Like
yeah,
that's you're trying to get from playing on Fridays to playing on Saturdays to playing on Sundays. But while we are talking about people that are playing on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays, there's a little bit of news that we got to cover. And first, of course, is the big news about Brian Robinson Jr. Today, he was officially traded, but this was rumors that had been going on for a while, and today they finally pulled the trigger. Washington Commanders. They had excused him from the last preseason game that they played. They were kind of holding him out of practices and things like that, but they finally do pull the trigger. They make the trade. They send him to the San Francisco 49ers for a 2026 sixth round pick. And part of that is that they're going to take on 1.25 million owed to him as part of his final year of his deal. And I think it's kind of interesting that they're doing this for. It's a fascinating thing from the Commander's perspective because he's owed 2.2 million, so they're taking on like in essence the bulk of the salary. Like the Niners are paying almost nothing. But what is fascinating about it also is that this is the second trade that the Commanders and the Niners have done. The first trade was when Debo went from the Niners to the Commanders. But the reason why I say it's interesting is because that trade involved a 2025 fifth round pick, which ended up being Jordan James. So the Niners trade Debo for a pick, use that pick on a running back, and then are like, you know what? We could also use another running back. Let's go back
it feels like this was part of the. It feels like the Niners GM, freaking John Lynch was like, "Hey, you forgot to add Brian Robinson in the trade this spring," and then the Commanders GM was like, "Oh shit, you're right. My bad, dog. I thought we had him." You know what? He had trade rumors anyways. We'll just give him to you now. It feels like this was like a delayed trade because if you would have said like like when it happened in spring, Debo 2025, Debo and the 2026 six, and then the Brian Robinson and 2025 fifth. I've been like, oh, that's a fair trade. It's a player for player.
Right.
Brian Robinson's obviously at this point much more valuable, so that makes sense why like they have to give up a pick at some sort. But yeah, Yeah, very, very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'm one. So like, I mean, let's talk about this very quickly from the Commanders' perspective, right? Because you're in a position where you are opening up that competition window, especially after last year. Like you saw how well Jaden Daniels did. It is fascinating to me that this rookie, Corey Krosky Merritt, or I forget what his exact first name is, but Krosky Merritt, who has been added on a shit ton of dynasty leagues, they believe in this guy so much that they're willing to trade away a relatively liked player from the fan base perspective. After all, this is the guy that was shot, returned. They're playing many men in the stadium when he came out for the first time after the injury. This is a team that needs running backs, right? You can't keep relying on Jaden Daniels to do the bulk of the running. You need somebody between the tackles. And Austin Eckler is there, but Eckler is more of an outside zone run as well as a pass catching back. So the idea that you would, while someone's still in the last year of their contract, their rookie deal, trade them away is really fascinating. So from the perspective of the Commanders, what do you think of this trade?
I'm not really a big fan of it, just because if they had like a running back that was like, oh, like no offense to Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, he was fine in college. I wasn't blown away with him in college. Like I saw him a couple times in New Mexico. He had this weird thing where he transferred to Arizona, but then he was like, "Nah, I'm going to Ole Miss." But then he went to Arizona anyways. And then there was this whole thing with his number, like he couldn't play for a little bit. Like I understand if you're excited for like the rookies that you have. They also have another kid that they have too that a lot of people are singing good praises. But like when your running back depth is literally Austin Eckler and two young running backs, and then they probably have like a fourth guy that like we totally forget. We're like, oh, he's still in the league. Wow, like it doesn't make me feel good, especially like the Commanders are doing like what I feel is like the opposite you should be doing with a rookie QB. Instead of going all in, they're kind of like, let's go halfway in and stuff.
Yeah,
Like
it is a weird. It is like your offseason moves are bringing in Debo Samuel.
like
Laramie.
Tunsil's the only one where I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like that's fine.
So like right now their running back room is Austin Eckler, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, Chris Rodriguez,
Yeah,
Jeremy
Rodriguez.
McNichols, and a guy who was I think a UDFA back in 2023, and then a UDFA in 2025. Or no, the guy that they brought in from San Fran, Demetric Felton. He was a rookie last year. So this is a really like, because you and I talk about this a lot, is the idea that in the playoffs, the way you run the ball changes. You have to be able to have game-winning, clock-killing drives. And maybe the Commanders are saying, we're going to be just reliant on this ability to throw the ball and move the ball with Jaden Daniels' legs, that it really doesn't matter who our running back is. But you would think that the Commanders or the Washington franchise would have learned after everything that happened with RG3. Granted, completely different ownership, completely different coaching staffs, but still, that's the history of your franchise. Yeah. So, like, the idea that you wouldn't try to learn from that and have bigger, strong running backs or a strong running back room is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, like this is like one of those things where it's like if the Commanders were like they're like, you know what, we're actually gonna go call Arizona, see if we can get like a James Conner from them and stuff. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like James Conner, he's still a beast. He's much bigger. He's somewhat, and Arizona has like a bunch of running backs that they want to get on the field. Or you call Carolina and you say, hey, Chuba Hubbard, like, do you like him, like, or something like that? Or you take a flyer on Alvin Kamara. You say, hey, look, Saints, like, you're not really going to use Alvin Kamara. Come on now, like, give him to us. Like,
and you think the Saints would want picks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have like the capital to like make trades and stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just like the move. Like, it's just so funny how last year they felt all in because they traded their first round pick for Marshawn Lattimore, which I was fine with because it was like, hey, look, who are you going to draft that's going to be better than Marshawn Lattimore? And sure, Lattimore wasn't the corner that we expect him to be, but maybe he does have a bounce back type season this year, and he plays really, really well. But yeah, it's just like these offseason moves have just been so bizarre, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm not as high on the Commanders as like most people are. Like I love Jaden Daniels. Don't get me wrong. I was on the Jaden Daniels train. Like I mean, John and I, we both predicted the upset, that the Commanders had a chance to upset the Lions. Like we weren't flinching because we said like, hey, they can actually keep up if the Lions want to play fast and shit like that. And we saw what happened when they played the Eagles. The Eagles played a more slow tempo ball control type offense, and the Commanders just didn't have a chance to even get into the game because the Eagles were just grinding out clock. And when you have someone like Jaden Daniels with his skill set and his abilities, wouldn't you want a running back like Brian Robinson that's like, going to be that guy to help you? Like, I get it that you don't want to pay him. That's fine. You can always find replacements for the running back position. It's like there's only like certain running backs in the league, like Saquon, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, that have like certain value right now. But yeah, it's a very interesting move because like Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera, like I mentioned, he only played one game last season in college. He only played one game. He was the East Shrine MVP, and like I've seen him play at New Mexico when he was playing, and it's like that tape didn't be like, wow, that's an NFL starting running back right there. Like that felt like, oh yeah, he's a good change of pace back. He's a good, oh, this guy can come in between and stuff. Are you? I don't know. Trusting in Austin Eckler in the big 2025. I don't think that's going to do anything for you. I mean, he's much slower. He's not the same back he was. I love Eckler. You guys know this, but still.
Yeah, it is a really interesting, just overall roster construction move. But from that perspective, let's also turn this over to the Niners and say, how does this look from the Niners perspective? Because for starters, you could say, well, does this mean that there could be further setbacks with CMC's return, which a lot of people would be very upset about if you already have different futures bets placed, but also just in general from the Niners perspective or Niners fans perspective, the idea that you would be trading for a running back right after you drafted a running back, and you generally have had running backs, like, yeah, you lose Jordan Mason, but you still have Garendo, then you add Jordan James. Like, this is a team that has very, very favorable scheme set up for running backs. The idea that you would need to keep trying to acquire running backs when you have Christian McCaffrey, the questions have to be raised about whether or not his injury is a little bit more severe than it seems.
Yeah, like I don't think McCaffrey's like 100% yet, and Brian Robinson, if you're bringing a guy like that in, like Garendo is not like someone you trust when you're on the 10-yard line and you hope he can power it in. Brian Robinson, that's a guy I trust on the 10-yard line, and hopefully he powers it in. That's like his bread and butter. So yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey touchdown props, those are not going to be as fun to bet on, because unless he breaks a long one, yeah, it's not going to look pretty. But yeah, I think there is concerns with McCaffrey a little bit. I don't think he is 100%, which is kind of a bummer for the 49ers. But thankfully, they have an easy schedule.
Because like coming into the offseason, or let's say before the draft, the running back room for the Niners was Garendo and McCaffrey, because they lost Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
Then in the draft, and Keyshawn Vaughn. Then during the draft, they draft Jordan James. Then less than 2 weeks ago, they signed Jeff Wilson, who was on the team prior, then went to Miami for a couple of years, a little bit of an older running back. And now they have traded for Brian Robinson Jr. If that's not a sign that, I mean, technically speaking, Kyle Juszczyk is there. But if that's not a sign that there's some kind of longer term lingering thing with McCaffrey, I'm really not sure what other indicator that could be, unless because you're just taking a guy who's in the last year of his contract. Unless you're going to do a short extension with him, it's more than likely that Garendo and James are the longer term backups to McCaffrey, because they're still on rookie deals, especially Jordan James, who you would have drafted in 25, 1 year prior, if we're talking about from a 26 perspective. So how and why they're doing this, it does raise some questions about McCaffrey's availability, particularly in the beginning of the year. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one to pay attention to, especially because like both of these teams are considered contenders in the same conference, and we're going to be getting into our power rankings in a second. But before we do that, one quick other trade: Devon Vele wide receiver drafted last year by the Denver Broncos in the 7th round. It was pick 235, if I remember right. He was sent to the New Orleans Saints for a 2026 4th rounder and a 2027 7th rounder. So this is for those who don't know, Vele was wide receiver 3 for the Broncos, put up some good numbers, had a lot of kind of just that slot receiver, possession receiver kind of role. And then he got a little banged up. He missed pretty much the rest of the season. But when he was on the field, he did very well. And one of the knocks against him, or why he wasn't drafted as highly, was because of his age. He's a rookie who came into the league at like 27, and he's going to be 28. And so there's kind of that idea of how long is this guy really going to be around? And that's a big reason why he was a 7th round pick. But kudos to, from the Broncos' perspective, it's great. It means that Marvin Mims is taking a step forward. It means that Troy Franklin is taking a step forward. It means that you have faith in Pat Bryant, the rookie that they drafted this year in 2025. But it also is great because you took a 7th round pick 235, which is towards the back half of the 7th round, and you turned that into a 4th round pick. So just from the perspective of like self-scouting your scouting department, that means that you are doing very well when it comes to later round talent and how to potentially flip them for higher round talent. For the Saints, hey, having more wide receivers is good. More people for Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler to potentially throw to or overthrow, depending on who is throwing the ball. But this is a wide receiver room that has been really hurting. Like Bub Means and Mason Tipton were competing for snaps as wide receiver 3. And that's not necessarily a knock against them. It's just that you need to get better wide receiver talent in there, especially when you keep running into situations where Chris Olave misses a game, 2 games, almost every year now with concussions. So how do you like this trade from the Saints' perspective?
I don't like it at all. I don't understand it. Like Devon Bailey, we got to investigate Utah as a school. How many years do they allow their players to keep playing college football? It's fucking ridiculous. They don't let me do this in the video game. I played with Utah. I would want to keep all my players in medical red shirts and stuff. Like this dude, like Utah as a program just lets their kids stay forever. They're just like, yeah, sure, get your doctorates while you play for our institution. I just don't see how he helps this Saints wide receiver. He's just dead for them because, like you mentioned, Olave is just not reliable. Rashid Shaheed, he can get banged up too. And also kind of the same situation. He's an older player that when he entered the league and stuff. Brandon Cooks is still running routes for them, which is very interesting. And then Bub Memes and all these other characters that you talked about. Like, yeah, no, Kellen Moore, it's gonna be a hard year for you, but at least you will have fun offensive play calls and stuff.
Yeah, that's your boy too.
Yeah, Coach Staley's there too as the defensive coordinator.
Wait, is he really?
Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't realize how old of a wide receiver room they've been collecting. They also have Dante Pettis.
Yeah, dude, Dante Pettis is on the road, bro. Dude,
okay, hold on a second. This is wild.
Chris Olave is the youngest player.
Hold on a second. Dante Pettis during the season will turn 30. And he has been in the league since 2018.
Yeah.
Devon Vele, who will have been in the league since 2025, will turn 28 during the season.
Yeah.
There's only a 2-year difference.
Yeah, because he played at Utah, and Utah just gives everyone gray shirts, blue shirts, medical red shirts, super duper red shirts. Like, bro, their most recent quarterback, Cam Rising, who I have a lot of love for, know the kid personally. Well, he's not a kid anymore. He's a grown man. But I knew him as a kid. This guy played at Utah for 6 fucking years. Went to Texas, originally transferred to Utah. But still, it's just like, Jesus Christ, Utah. Like, how do you get these players to keep staying for all these fucking years? Like, it's about damn time you guys move on. That's what they need to add in college football 26. They're still missing NIL, but they need to add where you can do all these stupid red shirts so I can have super duper seniors and stuff like that.
I don't know how they could really do NIL in college football.
No, every team gets a set fund. You have a set fund based off your brand.
No, I know, but like I'm saying, similar in the idea to how like if we play Madden, whatever the salary cap is that year, you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, naturally speaking, like similarly to how you've talked about, suddenly this year Oregon State has a metric ton of money because there's a large donor.
Yeah.
Like, are they going to do things like that where there'll
No,
be random roles?
no,
Like, suddenly you have
no.
$100 million.
They have this letter grade system called brand exposure. So each year your brand exposure goes up. That's how much NIL money you'll
Gotcha.
have. That's how I would do
That'll
it.
be
So
a
like,
way to do it. Yeah.
so like if you have A plus brand exposure, you get $10 million in NIL.
Gotcha.
And stuff like that, and then you can because that right there, because like that'll be such a fun recruiting thing. It's like, oh, you really think you can get this prospect? I'm offering him $2 million NIL for the next year and stuff like that.
you gotta be able to have options where it's like, hey, during because I know they have those like the off-season training, and then during the week regular training and stuff, you should be able to assign different players instead of like practicing. It's like go film TikToks.
Yeah, yeah, no, because the only way you can build brand exposure in the game is like you have to win national TV games, win national championships and stuff. Right. So, so yeah, good times. But yeah, good trade by the Broncos. I mean, the value you guys got for Vele, like you got a fourth round pick. You got a fourth round pick out of him. Like that's like a top. That's a top day 3 pick. It's like,
especially because it's the Saints. Especially because it's the Saints. Unless your boy Tyler Shuck.
This isn't Madden where he's overpowered. This is real life. And Madden, dude, you know what's funny? So I wanted to just see. I'm like, is Madden back to where like the rookies are just normally cracked? So I tested it with the other rookies. Cam Ward does not play like Tyler Shuck. He is far worse. Shador is unplayable. Like you can't use Shador in Madden. Like
really?
he overthrows every so Shador is like the same issue I had with Will Levis in last year's Madden, where he just overthrows way too much.
High throw power, low accuracy.
Yeah, something like that. So it's just horrible. Tyler Shuck, they gave this guy 92 throw power with good enough accuracies to where he doesn't overthrow anything and he lands everything perfect. Like you're gonna get some yellows with him, but you will still throw perfectly with him. But then he has the speed. He actually has like decent speed, and his acceleration is like an 80 something, and he just runs really fast. So it's like he's so much more overpowered than any of the other rookie quarterbacks. So if you guys are like in Madden franchise leagues and you do like a fantasy draft or something, and you want to build a rookie quarterback, don't be fooled by Tyler Shuck's stats, because Tyler Shuck actually just plays so much better than his ratings. And I tried it with Cam Ward because I was like, Cam Ward has to be a beast. Tyler Shuck's a beast. Cam Ward is not as good as Tyler Shuck in the game. It's just like in the game, he's just like he can throw the ball good, but he doesn't have Tyler Shuck's mobility. Like he's more stuck in he doesn't feel as fast as Tyler Shuck. Like Tyler Shuck can throw on the run. Like I'm doing Josh Allen shit with Tyler Shuck. I'm just like, bro, this is Tyler fucking Shuck. How am I doing that with him? So that Tyler Shuck must know someone in ESPN, because crazy.
Yeah, that is fascinating that you've got a player that is drafted where he is drafted and is better handles than an overall pick. I mean, I'm not saying that Cam Ward was known for speed and things like that, but still.
Yeah, Dart actually plays probably like the second best rookie QB is Dart. Dart probably pays.
Speaking of which, he's been having a really great preseason.
I told people I like Jackson Dart. I never hated him. I don't know why people hated him. Like I just said, look, he just needs to work on some certain things. Like I wasn't saying Jackson Dart's going to be a superstar QB. I just said that, yeah, he can play NFL QB. I saw enough at Ole Miss. I saw enough with his arm. I said, you know what, this guy can be an NFL quarterback.
So speaking of which, as we move into our power rankings, do you want to do AFC or NFC first?
Let's get the NFC out of the way. Come on,
the NFC. All right,
yeah, let's get the we love our AFC. We have to do that. We have to do this first.
All right. So let's see. Let me see how big I can. Oh, there we go. There we
beautiful.
Go. Look at that. All right. So I have two. Oh, now it's being a little. It's trying to be a little. There we go. All right. So let's start. You want to start? Let's start from the bottom or start from the top?
Yeah, let's get the crap out of the way. We gotta talk about the good teams. There's more debates. I don't think there's many debates of who we think are the worst teams in the league.
So I'm gonna start us off. I think for my 16th overall team, I'd probably go Carolina Panthers.
Oh, interesting.
Who would you take as your 16th?
It's the Saints, man. They don't have a clear cut. They don't have a clear cut quarterback room. They don't have a clear cut number one quarterback. Defensively, they're pretty solid, but just having no quarterback, I can't put you as like one of the I can't put you any lower, man. Like
That's fair. They're my number 2. They're my, I guess, 15th.
they're your 15th.
Yeah. The reason why I have the Panthers a little bit lower is because we've seen like their draft capital, I think, is still a bit locked up. And overall, I'm looking at it going, if you cannot get out of this season with like a good record, what is really left for you to like, you can't, I don't want to say you have to kind of blow it up, but like that would have been the 3rd year, I think, of Dave Canales.
Yeah.
It would have been the 3rd year of Bryce Young. Like, you kind of, you have to start from scratch. Not necessarily saying fire the head coach, but the owner is not the most patient of persons. So like for me, I'm looking at the power rankings also from the perspective of like who's on the hot seat for potentially having to do a bit of a house cleaning situation. The Saints, I give a little bit more credence to because like they just got the new head coach, and it's like, all right, they might have a little bit more leg room. But so from that, because I said so, I'm gonna put them as my 15th. Who do you have as your 15th?
I got the New York Football Giants. They have a really good defense. It's just I don't know if like this. I think Brian Dable is probably better as suited as a coordinator than he is as a head coach. I think he's coaching above his weight class. Just offensively, like how long are we going to see Russell Wilson play? They're in the NFC East, a tougher conference. I just don't like, and they kind of, when they drafted Jackson Dart, it was pretty much saying, and especially when you know that the upcoming draft class 2026 that has the potential to have a lot of big names come out. Like, what if Arch Manning wins a national title this year at Texas? Does he go back to college, or does he say, hey, I did something that my uncles couldn't do, win a national title? Peyton didn't win one, Eli didn't win one, and not only that, like I feel like I got enough experience, like. Because I believe,
like, if you think about it, if he wins a national title, going back another year arguably hurts his draft stock.
Yeah, exactly, and he's already he's already going to get drafted high anyway because of his name value and stuff. And like even if you know what's going to come up in this upcoming draft, and yet you traded back into the 1st round to grab Jackson Dart. This is like a big Hail Mary attempt from them, and so hopefully it works out. But I just don't see how this roster, like besides Malik Neighbors, they don't have another receiver. I'm like, oh man, that receiver's gonna, like, we've been waiting for years.
Cam Scotabo.
Yeah, I said receiver, not running backs. They have plenty of running back. Maybe they can ask Tyrone Tracy to play receiver again. He played receiver at Purdue.
Yeah, he used to play receiver.
Yeah, so but yeah, I just don't like the roster. Like defensively, really great roster. Abdul Carter stud, Brian Burns is a stud, Sexy Dexy's a stud. Kayvon Thibodeau they could potentially trade to get some draft capital if they'd like.
I wanted to have the Giants lower, but that defense is too good. Malik Neighbors is too good.
But then
the Saints just have way too much.
But what also is the reason why the Giants are 15? That offensive line is putrid, man. Like
my God.
Yeah, and Andrew Thomas, he has the potential to be a franchise left tackle. He just can't stay healthy. Like if he stays healthy, he's like a franchise left tackle in this league. But
what's kind of wild about it is that the I don't want to say last to first because it wasn't ranked last, but like the low ranking of the Denver Broncos O-line, two damn near number 1 with Bo Nix, between Russell Wilson and Bo Nix. Now you're taking Russell Wilson and putting him behind. He was behind the Pittsburgh line, which wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like that great. Now you're putting him behind an even worse offensive line, and you're like, hey, you know how you like to throw moonballs? Moonballs take time to set up. Hopefully you have the time. When you've got the Eagles pass rush coming after you, you've got the Cowboys coming after you 4 times a year, and that's why for me I'm putting the Giants at 14. Who do you got at 14?
I'll put the Carolina Panthers there. I'm buying high on the Panthers this year of being a nice little sleeper team and stuff. I think they can actually shock some people. It's up to Bryce Young. Like how much of it was like teams just didn't give a fuck that they were playing the Panthers so late in the season, or how much was it that Bryce Young actually improved as a player? Like that's what we have to see. I like Tutorial McMillan. Hopefully Xavier Legette breaks out. They have Adam Thielen as a trade piece too, where you can trade him for some capital because there's going to be a team that is looking for a wide receiver like the Minnesota Vikings who have been depleted. So we could be talking about Adam Thielen as a potential trade target. I think defensively they got a lot better. They drafted well on that side of the ball. I think they're a team that is just like, they're not going to be good, but I think they're going to be much better than people expect. I just like their position better than I like the Saints or the Giants.
That's fair. This one is a tough one for me because I'm like debating between either the Cardinals or who was the other one I was looking at? The Seahawks. I'm going to go with the Cardinals simply because as much as I like old man James Conner, I have a little bit more faith in Walker, Charbonnet, and Damian Martinez to be able to help Sam Darnold. And JSN is just so far has been a much better and reliable wide receiver than a lot of what Marvin Harrison has done. And that's only because kind of the scheme and the connection level between him and Kyler, but that's also we have to see whether or not that's going to develop. And maybe that's not going to be there for Darnold and JSN. And we haven't seen JSN being forced into the wide receiver one or the dominant wide receiver role because I don't think he's a prototypical. He's not a proto one, but him being the guy who has to help make opportunities for wire 2 and wire 3. And granted, wire 2 is going to be an older Cooper Kupp, so he'll be able to move around a bit. But I feel as though Seattle is a little bit better set up than Arizona. Who do you have at 13?
Yeah, just hit Command B or Control V right there. It's Arizona Cardinals. Like, I used to be the Arizona Cardinals' biggest like. This is a sleeper team. Kyler Murray's going to figure it out. I'm done with it. I have to just admit this team is bad. Defensively, they've gotten a little bit better, but offensively, it's just a mess. They just haven't been able to figure out how to like. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., generational wide receiver, and he's just a decoy. It's just really bizarre to me and stuff. Like he's a really good player, and it's just
Trey McBride though.
Yeah, Trey McBride.
Thumbs up for Trey McBride.
Yeah, like I like him. Yeah, he's great and stuff. But yeah, no, I have the Cardinals at 13.
So that means I'm going with Seattle at 12, ironically. Seattle, 12 man. How about you?
I know a lot of people are high on this team. I'm just not. Atlanta Falcons, get to number 12. Yeah, get to number 12, buddies. Like, listen, that defense is young. Just because they filled it up with a bunch of talent, it's still a young defense. You have to hope that talent hits. This isn't Madden, where I know James Pierce and Jalen Carter will be studs because they have 92 speed each, and they'll get after the quarterbacks no matter what. It's real life. Michael Penix did show some flashes, but man, even that offense is still too young for me. Like it's like Darnell Mooney is like your veteran wide receiver. Like that's your veteran wide receiver. It's not. People are going to say, no, what about Drake London? No, Darnell Mooney's older than Drake London. So Darnell Mooney's the veteran.
I can't see my thing for me is I can't have the Falcons that low just because of the amount of offensive talent that they have.
They have talent.
And the thing is there is that with Penix, if Penix plays even 60% as good as like Joe Burrow plays, and that's a big comp. Like it's a big leap for him to make. But this is we're talking about the Bengals being a team where it's like offense. If the defense shows up and does decently, they're a solid team. I have to kind of apply that same logic to the Falcons, right?
Well, like Raheem Morris is the head coach, John. So
well, Zach Taylor's over there,
and that's another reason why the Falcons are number 12. I don't trust in their leadership. The leadership is not to my liking as a fan, but yeah, no, the Falcons. I don't know. Like they have talent. It's so young, and it's just one of those things where it's just like you need like certain veteran building blocks. They got rid of their center too, which I don't like. They still have the left tackle, Jake Matthews. He's great. Mm-hmm. Other than that, yeah. No,
I mean it's an offense that has Bijan Robinson. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
it's Bijan Robinson.
Bijan.
Yeah.
I'm saying all
gotta
that.
Say the name correctly, even though he's called himself Bijan himself.
I'm saying all of that to say that I'm putting them at 11.
Yeah, exactly. And then just put Seattle 11 for me, man. Hey, man. Once Milroe's quarterback, these boys are in the top 10. I'm telling you, they're in the top 10. But what I like about Seattle more is just I think I just like the building blocks they have on offense. I love the running back tandem they have in Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. Like that's just like. Just having those two guys as running backs, it gives a nice peace of mind whoever is going to be the quarterback. I still have faith in like Cooper Kupp too. I think Cooper Kupp and Sam Darnold could have like a nice little connection. And JSN, Look, he was one of my favorite receivers that I've seen in college football. That 400-yard game is still burnt in my memory banks. I believe he's really good, and I think he's going to be doing a lot of good stuff now that he's a de facto wide receiver number one over there in Seattle.
So this one, it's a little tough for me. I'm torn between either the Chicago Bears, the Dallas Cowboys, or the Niners. But I think what weirdly makes the most sense is actually the Rams because of the questions around quarterback.
Yeah, that's why they're my number 10 team too. I was going to say the Rams. I was like the Rams are my number 10. Like you said, that court. Like people are saying it's a Matthew Stafford clone flowing at practice. It's not even the real one.
But like the Gucci Man when he came out of prison.
Honestly, with the Rams, it's weird because for years with McVay, it's always been I like the offensive side of the ball, and besides Aaron Donald, nothing really I love about their defense. This year it's opposite. It's like, man, I love their defensive side of the ball, but offensively, I'm not a big fan of it. You know, like you said, question marks around the quarterback position. Devontae Adams, like, does he really care, or is he just there for the paycheck? You know, Puka Nacua, he's shown that he has some injury concerns. You know, so like, is he going to be healthy this season? What's going on with the running back situation? Are they going to lean more towards the running game? But they traded away like offensive linemen that help with that running game. So it's like offensively, I'm not a big fan of them. But yeah, it's just like, you know, they're going to overachieve because it's McVay. You know, like they're going to be a good team. Like we could be like looking at this list later and just saying, yeah, they were definitely one of the 6 best teams in the NFC. But as of now, I have to put them at number 10.
That's fair. Okay, so let's see. So now I think is where the Bears make sense, mainly from the perspective of I believe that Ben Johnson's better than Matt Eberflus and Shane Waldron combined.
No.
But I need to be able to see it.
Yeah.
And that's really like, you got to be able to prove it to me first before I can be like, okay, yeah, Bears are back.
Yeah, put Chicago for number 9 for me too. Like I think you just hit the nail on the head. I need to see it in a regular season game consistently too. I need to see the consistency of it. I think they have the talent to be a top 5 team in the NFC, both offensively and defensively. But like you said, we need to see it. Like we can load up our Maddens and make the Bears into this great franchise. But in real life, we need to see that because they have the talent. Like Luther Burden and Colson Loveland, very athletic, very fun rookies on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they've added some veterans, and hopefully they can get after the quarterback with that defense. They have a strong defense. They have a good offense. They reworked that offensive line. But let's see it in the game. Let's see how you perform. And, you know, we talked about the Bears last week, and they have a pretty tough opening schedule. That's going to be a good start to see where they're really at.
Yeah. For my 8th team, going with Dallas. Mainly because it's been so many years and years of just question marks around Dallas. It's like you have a brand new head coach, and it's kind of wild that we're putting a team with Schottenheimer as a head coach above a team with Ben Johnson as a head coach. Granted, we don't know about either of them as head coach material or as head coach.
If Dak is just remotely healthy, he's an MVP candidate.
Right, but like it's that's the thing. It's like the situation where they keep picking up injuries, they keep picking up weird losses and things like that. They keep having contract issues every single year, and they still can't figure out the Micah Parsons thing. Jerry Jones was talking about it, I think today or yesterday, talking about how like I gave him the biggest deal for a non-quarterback in NFL history. So it's like it's on him. It's just like, guys, figure out what the hell is going on, because like, you should be a contender on paper, especially when you add in somebody like George Pickens, when you've been dying for a wide receiver too for years. You cannot pair up somebody reliably with CeeDee Lamb. It was either Michael Gallup Jr. It was it Turpin, or like they've kept trying to make people wide receivers.
They even traded for Jonathan Mingo. They were just like, hey, let's give up a draft pick for Jonathan Mingo, for fuck's sake.
So it's like, all right, you keep rolling with trying to figure this out. if Pickens is able to pull this off, and it's going to be interesting because Pickens is the type of wide receiver from all reports that he likes to be the guy who gets the ball thrown to him. And he's not that keen on trying to build opportunities for somebody else to get the ball. So we'll see how all that works out. CeeDee Lamb is a bit of like he comes across as though he has that wide receiver superstar diva, but it does feel as though it's a little bit tamped down compared to somebody like Pickens. So we'll see how all that works out. But
CeeDee Lamb's like the calm baby, you know, like George Pickens is like the baby that will just keep crying every single time, and you're just like, God dang, dude, like I can't calm this baby down. CeeDee Lamb, he's just chilling, but then when he poops his diaper, he starts crying, and then you're like, oh, okay, I got to change you and stuff. Like, but he's not a big drama show wide receiver. Like he has it in him, but he's a little bit more calmer. You know, sadly, I have to agree with you. I have to put my Cowboys at number 8. You know, I'm high on them. I still think they're winning the NFC East, you know, but they have to be healthy to do that and stuff. But they do have to be healthy. Yeah.
At number 7, I'm going with the Packers.
Really?
Mainly because the Packers are another team, similarly to the Cowboys, where it seems like perennially they're in the hunt. They're fighting either for a wild card spot, potentially division. You know, last year was, I would say, a bit of an anomaly where the Vikings and the Lions just were going so much punch for punch. It was just almost impossible to keep up. Like for you to keep up, it would mean you needed to go 14-2 as well and have it come down to that last game of the season. So I can understand from that perspective why you're a wild card spot. But this is a situation where the Packers just seem like kind of mired in the mud, if that makes sense. Like they add Josh Jacobs last year. They do really well with him, but then Jordan Love's out, and then he's replaced by Malik Willis. You win the games, which is a testament to Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff. But when it counts, when you get to the playoffs, they keep seeming to have trouble. And that's why I can't have them as high. How about you?
I'm actually more high on the Packers than you. I got the San Francisco 49ers at 7. Just the injury concerns going into it. The wide receiver room is really banged up. And, how much is it going to be on Purdy? I mean, they have an easy schedule, so that's what helps them out. But even then, I'm just like, the next 6 teams I'm saying are the best teams. And I think all 6 teams, they met the Niners in the playoffs, are beating them. I'll be right back real quick.
No problem. Meanwhile, for me, I have the Niners at 6. For me, the Niners are a question mark for sure, but I trust Kyle Shanahan and the coaching staff and that offensive scheme to be able to move people and get them where they need to be. There are a lot of teams that have banged up wide receiver rooms, like the Green Bay Packers, but it's a question of who do you trust more to get the job done when the chips are down. And as good as Josh Jacobs is, Christian McCaffrey, if he is healthy, or even some of these other running backs, they can get the ball where it needs to go, which is the end zone. It is also a question where I trust the Niners defense a little bit better. Like they do have a bit more of star power than the Packers defense. You have the Fred Warners of the world. You have the Nick Bosa's of the world. Like you have the ability to get after the quarterback. And if the quarterback is able to get the ball out because he's panicking and he gets it to a short route or even an intermediate route, you have Fred Warner there to clamp down on whoever it is that is getting the ball. So you're relying a little bit less on your secondary, which the Niners do need to kind of build back up. But it is a team that I've just seen pull it off a bit too many times for me to kind of rule against them. And as Chase was pointing out, they are a team that has a really strong schedule that works in their favor. So I'm going to go with the Niners at 6. While we wait for Chase to get back, I'm going to go a little bit further and list who I have at my number 5 spot. And for my number 5 spot, it's tough, right? Because you've got all these teams now are really, really strong. Actually, before I get to my 5 spot, giving me a little bit more time to think about it or to fully make my pick. Who do you have at your 6th spot?
Washington.
Yeah,
I got the Commanders at 6. We talked about it. Not really big fans of the moves. I do suspect Jaden Daniels to have somewhat of a sophomore slump. There's more film on him. People are going to be able to know. I got to see if Cliff Kingsbury can have 2 successful years in a row. Because, that's the one thing about Kingsbury is this. He's a very good offensive mind. But if you look at his track record, he doesn't have too many great back-to-back years, even as an offensive coordinator. So it's just like how much were teams just sleeping on the Commanders because they thought they were bad, or they were sleeping on Kingsbury and his play calling and stuff. Like I think they do have a great coaching staff. They can beat a lot of the teams, but I do expect a little bit of a slump for the Commanders this year. I can't put them in the top 5 of the NFC. Like they're just off the cusp a little bit. So even though Daniels is great, I think he's a great young quarterback. I think he's going to have a lot of tremendous success in the NFL from what I've seen. I as a team, I'm just like that defense. They lost a lot of like to me key pieces that were important to them, like a Jeremy Chin. I thought was very important to them. They lost him. They bring in a Von Miller, and then it's like, okay, how exciting is that? Are you getting a good version of Deebo Samuel? The Terry McLaurin situation is still kind of murky and stuff. Like we don't know what's going on with all that. So it's just like for me, I'm just like I can't put them in the top 5. I can't like, but they are still one of the better teams in the NFC.
Yeah. I mean, we would still. I mean, I obviously have them somewhere in my top 5, and we're saying that they are for sure a playoff team, but it's just a question of where exactly they slot in.
Yeah.
For me, I think this is a bit of a surprise, but I kind of want to put the Lions at 5, just because there's so like we talked about these other teams with question marks, but what kind of question mark do we have when you've lost your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator? Losing one is already tough enough as it is. Losing both I'm like, wow, it's similarly to the Bears. Ironically, getting Ben Johnson it's kind of like you have to prove it to me. It's the idea of, yes, was your offensive genius or was your offensive firepower a function more of Ben Johnson, or was it a function of the talent on the team? And if I think it's Morton now who is the OC, but if their new OC is able to pick up kind of where Ben Johnson left off, and a lot of that will be because of the talent on the field, it will be, they'll shoot up these power rankings very quickly. But how do you feel about the number 5 spot?
This is where I'm going to put Green Bay. I think Green Bay has a really good defense. It's a defense that's not getting talked about. Offensively, there is still question marks, especially with the receiving room. But I do trust Matt LaFleur. I think Matt LaFleur is a good play caller, good head coach. I think Jordan Love, we saw a lesser version of him because he was still laboring. Like I can tell when a player is not 100% healthy.
Yeah,
he wasn't 100% healthy last year. There were certain throws that I'm like, he would have made that if he is healthy and stuff. So I do think that Jordan Love will have a good bounce back season. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like a good candidate for MVP this year. I think he's going to have that type of season where it's like a very good like MVP candidate type season. But yeah, I just think that, before I put them above the upper echelon of the NFC, I do need to see just a little bit more from them. But I like that defense a lot. I think that defense is really, really good and underrated. Bunch of players that are athletic freaks. They turn over the football, which I think is very underrated when it comes to defense. Like you got to turn over the football, and they tend to get turnovers at really good times too. It's not just junk turnovers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for me, I'm taking. This is gonna may hurt you a little bit, hurt your soul a little bit. I'm taking the Vikings, and I'm putting them at 4.
Well, for me, you can put them at 4 with me as well.
Oh, there we go.
They're my number 4. I even though I have them making the Super Bowl, like.
Because my thing is, if you think about it, because this is what I was talking about when you had stepped away, is that for all the Packers have wide receiver questions, the Niners have wide receiver questions, Minnesota, at least for the first 3 games, really just has Justin Jefferson, because Ty Felton picked up an injury.
That's all you need.
And so did actually Jordan Addison while he was in practice. They both ended the practice on the sidelines yesterday. So how this wide receiver room shakes out, particularly with Addison's suspension and other injuries that they're picking up, like they still have Jalen Naylor there, but like it's a question of how good is this run game going to be, and how good is TJ Hawkinson going to be, and most importantly, how good is Sam Darnold going to be? Not Sam Darnold, is JJ McCarthy going to be in this KOC offense? Now, KOC, great play caller, great quarterback coach, able to work with anybody.
The best.
But sometimes it's not just on like.
Yeah, oh, this is why you say it's gonna hurt me. You have the fucking Commanders over the Vikings. Change that shit right now, dog. I'm pissed. You cannot be doing this to my dog KOC, man.
Well, see, here's my argument. You could have the best head coach you want, Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, whoever, but it's on the quarterback to be able to execute the plays.
Yeah, KOC's a quarterback, and he mind melds with the quarterback, and the quarterback plays well. This is where you're not getting. It's okay. It's fine. Once you get on KOC time, and you'll understand. It's all right.
I like KOC.
You're just, but you're not on the timing. You're on your like, oh, it's JJ McCarthy a good quarterback because he's JJ McCarthy will be fine because it's just KOC mind melding with the quarterback. Once you get on his time and you understand it.
All right. Legend. Well, who you got at number 3?
I actually got Tampa Bay at number 3. I like Tampa Bay. I think they're one of the teams where it's like they could actually beat the number 1 and number 2 team at any moment randomly. It's just consistency is my concern with Tampa Bay because for all the times they can beat the Eagles or the Lions, they'll have these games where they lose to the Falcons, they lose to the Cardinals, and you're just like, are you guys a great team or are you just good? But on paper, Baker, what they have at wide receiver, what they built over there defensively, offensively, it's a great team. It's a really good football team. It's a team that if you're just someone that wants to choose a sleeper Super Bowl pick in the offseason, Tampa Bay is not a bad beat. Or if you're entering the playoffs and you're just looking for a sleeper team, Tampa Bay is not a bad beat. They have a trend in a history of winning random Super Bowls. Baker Mayfield has shown that this guy is a franchise quarterback in the league. They have Bucky Irving. They have Mike Evans, Emeka Ibuka.
Here's my concerns, and it is kind of wild because I have them at I do have them at number 2, but this is a offense that Mike Evans is getting older, but he will be absolutely great. Don't get me wrong.
He'll get 1,000 yards somehow.
What?
He'll get 1,000 yards.
He's gonna get 1,000 yards.
Just give it to her. The NFL should just start the season just giving him 1,000 yards.
And then it counts down. It counts down. It doesn't count up.
Yeah, it counts down till he gets 1,000, until he reaches 1,000. That's what they should do. So that way we know it's like, oh, is he close? Oh, he's close. Yeah.
You know what? That's what you and I are gonna do every week when we switch to true picks, we're gonna start. I'm gonna start 1,000-yard counter.
We're gonna have the Mike Evans counter.
Mike Evans watch. But behind Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin's on PUP.
No, they randomly reactivated him.
Well, I don't think he's coming back.
It's so random. That's like the weirdest move I've ever seen. I'm like,
you have Jalen. Yeah, you know why they had to reactivate him? Because they put Jalen McMillan on IR boomerang with his concussion, and so it's a lot of pressure on Emeka Ibuka. And listen, I've heard great things about Emeka Ibuka. If you listen to Austin, he's one of the greatest OSU wide receivers in history. But
Austin says about every fucking OSU.
That's why I'm saying that's the joke.
He would say Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. But right now he's saying Cardell Tate is the greatest OSU wide receiver.
Igbukah is supposed to be electric, and fortunately or unfortunately, he's going to get the opportunity to show that talent very quickly. Week 1, he's going to be out there because who Tampa Bay is throwing to is a concern. However, with the power of Bucky Irving, and you have Baker Mayfield behind there, Baker is a very similar quarterback in some respects to Kirk Cousins, where he will have like 1 or 2 bonehead kind of decisions, but overall his decision making and his processing is really good. And they are a team that I think could go pretty damn far in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Who do you have as number 2? I think it's going to be Detroit.
Yes, it's going to be Detroit.
Yeah, because I think we're both in agreement on
number 1. The Eagles are the best team. But Detroit, I do have concerns with the coordinator switches, but this defense is going to be healthy. I have no concerns about the defense, to be honest, because I'm like, yeah, Aaron Glenn's gone, but they're getting back all the players that they lost last year. They added good players. They have one of the best safeties in the league in Kirby Joseph. Aiden Hutchinson's back. We'll get to see if this Davenport and Aiden Hutchinson combo is going to be a really good pass rush combination. They have a good defensive line. Their linebackers are improving. Yeah, I personally like what Detroit has because they're healthy on defense. Offensively, that's my concern because I'm wondering about the play calling. Because I've talked about this when we were talking about it in the NFC North preview. I said, look, I think there was a lot of play calling turmoil between Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson. And the new OC is a very basic pro style type of guy. I don't know if JMO is going to be on the roster. I know Isaac Tesla has been
he's been doing very well.
He's been very well, but Tesla doesn't have the game-burning speed like Jameson Williams has. Jared Goff, he loves throwing deep shots. I've been telling people too, Jahmyr Gibbs, I know everyone loves him, but I'd be fading him a little bit in fan. I would have dropped him super high in redrafts. Dynasty, that's fine. If you haven't, you haven't.
Yeah.
But in redrafts, I really do think David Montgomery, who's been going in third and fourth rounds in redrafts, I think he has more value just because of who the new offensive coordinator is for the Lions. I think Montgomery is going to have more value.
It's such a fascinating team, right? Like, as you have them 2, I have them 5, and that gap is, it's not high, but it is one of those gaps where it's like it's the margins, right? And they are a team that are going to be kind of the margins this year, unless they come out similarly to last year and just start dropping 50 burgers on people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, all right, the Lions are still the Lions.
Oh yeah, they have the offense to kick everyone's ass.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just more of like, hey, that defense is really good.
Yeah.
And now that defense is healthy, because that's what held. I think that's what really held them back. That defense wasn't healthy enough.
You know what's wild? Because we were talking about Madden a little bit earlier. I think I'm in like 20. Because granted, this is last year's Madden.
Oh, okay.
But I'm in 2030 or 2031 of a Patriots thing because I was like, let me just see what Drake May's like.
Great, isn't he?
But what's interesting is I don't know how, because so the other thing is I sort of cheat when I play franchise. Yeah. Every single staff point that I get, I first put into player personnel when it comes to trades. That's the first thing I do.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I know some people would consider that cheating or like giving yourself a leg up or whatever.
Dude, look,
but as a result,
I tell people play franchise, dude. I know people who save scum in Dynasty, like in college football during the transfer portal, so certain players don't leave their transfers and stuff. So I really don't care how people play their league, how you want to play it.
Where I'm going with this is that somehow, some way, I was able to just give a first-round pick to the Lions for like a 27-year-old Aiden Hutchinson. And how I pulled that off, I don't know, but like they agreed to it, so I got Aiden Hutchinson.
It doesn't matter, bro, because every even in this year's Madden, like the Lions have such a short window. Like everyone that's on their team just becomes free agents anyways, dude. Like you can literally just build the Detroit Lions when you you want the Lions team. Yeah, just wait till they enter free agency, and if you're a bad team with a bunch of cap, you'll get Gibbs, you'll get Hutchinson and stuff. Yeah, I always sign it in Hutchinson in every freaking franchise. I'm like, do I need him? No. Is he available? Yes. Is he interested in my team? Yeah.
No, it was more actually no. Technically speaking, it wasn't just a first round pick. It was a first round pick and like a 7th. So technically, but anyway, let's move over to the AFC side of things. Okay, wait, hold on 1 second. Before we move, is there anybody that you want to move or change or anything like that? Do you feel?
No, I think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
Okay.
They Jalen Hurts is going to have a good season. That defense, everyone's like, they lost Sweat, they lost they just replaced them with their talent. They have talent. The Eagles are literally like what every team wants to be in the NFL. Like they're like that dominant college football powerhouse. The only difference is that like the Eagles can't control who they have to face every year, like a college football powerhouse. And as well, like it's the NFL, there's a lot of parity in the league and stuff. But in terms of like just how much talent they have on both sides of the ball, that's what you want to build your team around, your franchise around. Is just the fact that, we can just reload talent. Like with college, just like Alabama every year. It's just like, we're under Nick Saban. It was like, holy shit. Like they just keep getting better and better. Like when's the fall off? And that's how it is with the Eagles, where it's like, until I see that defensive line get completely depleted, which I don't see happening in the next 3 to 4 years.
No,
it's like they're going to be the best team entering the preseason for the NFC.
It is wild because it's like as those players need to get re-signed, your cap will have just increased.
Yeah, and as well, it's like if they say, "Oh, well, sorry, who's that edge rusher from Georgia that turned it on during the playoffs? Like the really fast guy, I forgot his name. sorry, man, we won't pay you. It's okay. We just drafted your replacement, and he's been sitting behind you for 2 years, and he's been playing really well. Nolan Smith. Sorry, Nolan Smith. We're not gonna pay you because we just have your replacement down there. Oh, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, you need contracts? It's okay. We've been playing your backups anyways, and they've been playing well. So like that's just what they've been doing. They've just been able to find quality players on cheap contracts, pay the guys they need to pay. Like Jalen Carter is like the one priority. It's like, okay, Jalen Carter, you're going to get paid. Like there's no ifs, ands about it. You're getting paid no matter what. You're just a beast. Everyone else, hey, you're expendable because the Eagles have done such a good job at finding people to replace the players that they have, and those people are either just as good or better than the players that they have, or they do what they did with Zach Bond. They just find these like hidden gems, and they're just like, this motherfucker is on that guy's. This guy's good. Let's take a player on him because they do this. They do this where they find players that are hidden gems, and then they become starters for the Eagles or they become starters at other teams. Look at Alex Singleton, another great example.
That's true.
A guy who was mostly a special teamer, and then they made him a starting linebacker, and now he's a starting linebacker for the Denver Broncos. Like that's just how this franchise works and stuff. And this is why they keep trading for these random ass wide receivers like Jahan Dotson and John Mechie. It's just like, well, one of these idiots have to work eventually, right? Like, if not, we'll just find one. Like, like they got Devonta Smith and AJ Brown locked up. They just need to find that third or fourth guy to pair up with them. Mm-hmm. Saquon Barkley's locked up.
What is going to interest me is the future of the Eagles tight end room.
Yeah.
Mainly because Goddard is just getting older, and like they don't. The thing is, the Eagles don't really rely on the tight end when the offense is moving well. They rely more on the tight end when they're having to play from behind, and they need that short yardage game.
Casatera has been playing. I think he's good.
Say again.
Casatera, isn't that their backup?
Yeah. Casatera has been good, but like that's another player that, like, depending on what kind of deal that person wants, and if another team is willing to pay him more, like what's going to happen there? So it's one of those things because like right now he is in the last year of his deal, and he was a 6th-round pick. So there's no, I don't know why I thought he was going to say he was a 1st-rounder, but like there's no option there to get that 5th year. So how exactly they maneuver that is going to be interesting because the Eagles do rely more on that tight end when they play from behind. But let's turn over to the AFC. I'm gonna start us off. Worst team in the AFC.
Oh, what? Who got it better than us? I guess everybody.
I'm kidding.
16 to 15. 16 to 1.
I'm kidding. No, I think for me, this is a Titans. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. Is Cam Ward the real deal? We're gonna find out. But Cam Ward, like, there's a lot of pressure on you, sir. Like, this is a franchise that has been floundering for a number of years, and they either were just slightly too good to get a high enough draft pick, or what. But they finally got it, and they got you, and the pressure's on now, sir, to perform. Who do you have at 16?
I know a lot of people will think, well, how come the Browns aren't the worst team? They have this player called Myles Garrett. We can't put the Browns at 16 because of that. I have the Indianapolis Colts at 16. I think they're much worse than the Titans. Like, quarterback situation's a mess.
Anthony Richardson is terrible, right?
I love Big Tony. I can't say that. Shane Steichen's supposed to be this wizard and make these quarterbacks better, and it's just not getting better. I like the receiving room. I think that has potential. Other than that, this team is just rough. It's just in a rough spot. Defensively, they have talent. They could compete with a lot of teams. It's just, I don't know. They just seem like such a bad team. It would be such a Colts thing to just fucking luck into Arch Manning. Like, it's just like, just their luck. Oh, man, we suck this bad. Wow, we get another generational quarterback fall on our lap. Wow, that's
who happens to have the same last name Manning.
Yeah, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, now Arch Manning. Holy shit! Oh, wow, how do we get so lucky?
Do you know? Honestly, I think that if the Colts had the number 1 overall pick, Peyton Manning would burn down wherever the draft is, as opposed to seeing Arch Manning go and be a Colt. Because like they asked him, like, like, you're going into the Hall of Fame as a Bronco and a Colt, and he was like, I'm a Denver Bronco. He was just like, no, fuck these guys.
Yeah,
He still lives in Denver. He still does charity in Denver. He shows up.
It's so crazy. The love loss that he had. I really do think if you ask the Mannings, like, where do you want Arch to go? They are rooting for the Saints. Like, that's like the team.
That's the storyline. That's have to finish the story.
Yeah, exactly. But I think the Colts, they're just one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Yeah. This one is tough, the 15th, because there's so many wonderful options to pick from. But I am going to give this one to the Raiders. I appreciate the fact that Pete Carroll is a leader of men and a strong motivator. I appreciate the fact that they drafted Ashton Genty. I love the fact that not for when the Denver's playing them, but like that they have Brock Bowers. But this is a team that has high levels of dysfunction, and it's just a question of whether or not Pete can steady the ship. And if Pete can steady the ship, they jump up the rankings because, like I just said, it's a team with Ashton Genty, it's a team with Brock Bowers, and also very important, it's a team with Max Crosby. And as long as you have those three players playing at high levels, you can do very well. I just need to be able to see it put together in some way, shape, or form over a 18 game or 17 game season to be able to rank them a little bit higher. Who do you got at 15?
I got the Tennessee Titans. Bryce Callahan seems like a goof. That deep, he does. He just seems like a goof. I like that defense. The offense, man, dude, this is just like Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett. That doesn't get me excited for Cam Ward's rookie campaign and stuff. Alec Alamanor, whatever, however you say his last name, I think that's fun. But other than that, man, yeah, this team is just a rough team to be watching, to be honest. Just being honest here, it's a rough team. So I think the Titans, they are in like just a weird situation. They're going to be a bad team. I think Cam Ward will have an okay rookie season. I think it's going to be one of those and this is Cam Ward's MO throughout his whole life. Started okay in high school, became a stud. Not really, because he only was a 2-star prospect, but a stud for his standards. Was okay in college and then became a stud. I think Cam Ward's kind of like Geno. He's just a slow learner. It's going to take a while for the speed of the NFL and stuff. He has a great attitude. I love his attitude. I love his mindset. I love those cocky ass quarterbacks that he like.
Especially when they asked him about Will Levis's injury, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm only focused on Cam Ward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude, he's like when he's talking shit to Shador, it's like the funniest thing. It's like he goes, "See, that's the difference between you and me. I'm focused on the game. You focus on everything else." And then Shador's like, "What the fuck that mean, dog?" It was like the funny. I'm like, dude, I loved it. I love his attitude. It's just like he focused on the task at hand, but I just think this team is just really, really. It's just such a mess, and it's just like they could win 2 games or they can win 5. I don't know. I just don't know. So yeah, it's a bad team to me.
For my next one, this is where I put the Cleveland Browns.
No.
And this is a function of I don't know exactly what's going to be going on with this quarterback room. It could be Shador, could be Flacco, over the course of the season. Or
it could be Dylan Gabriel.
could be Dylan Gabriel.
Or Kenny Pickett. Just fuck you. You know how bad you have to be where Dorian Thompson Robinson has a better chance of making a roster than you, and you guys traded him.
This is a team that really has a lot of question marks at running back. Quinshon Judkins, he was cleared of the charges, but at the same time, he has not signed with the team. He is not practicing. This is a very intriguing situation. Like, you have Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson. But if you look at, okay, who are they throwing to? Well, it's Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku, a older tight end who's still good, and Jerry Jeudy, who had great flashes last year. If you and a lot of people are looking at the season-ending numbers, and to me, if you remove the Denver game, where he's picking on a guy who, in essence, would be cornerback 4 or 5 on another team, but was pressed into service due to injuries. If you remove that game and then just divide by 16 versus 17, it's just a regular Jerry Jeudy season. Like it's nothing superstar like. It's nothing that spectacular. And I appreciate the fact that we talked about this when we did the NFC AFC North. I appreciate the fact that Jerry Jeudy's got a different outlook on life and had his overall attitude about football, about life has improved. He needed that change from Denver to Cleveland, and I'm happy for that for him. But besides him, they don't have anybody that they're throwing to. And that, to me, is ultimately the question. Your defense can keep scores low. I agree 100%. And sure, Newsom and Ward are going to pick up their kind of customary 1 or 2 games that they miss. That's fine. But if you keep a score low and it's 9 to or 10 to 17, and you still have the 10, you're still losing the game. So where's these offensive points going to come from? Yeah. Either Myles Garrett really has to disrupt and force fumbles and then give them great field position to score, or I'm not 100% certain how this offense, at least as it's on paper right now, is going to be putting up points. So that's, for me, why I have them at 14. How about you?
Yeah, I also have Cleveland at 14. For all the things you said, Myles Garrett, he's just the Calvin Johnson on defense, the Megatron on defense. Like, we're never going to know what it's like Myles Garrett playing on a good football team. But we can only dream. We can only dream. I mean, they had some fun, I guess, a little bit, but we can dream over time. Like watch, like in like a few years when the Browns are really good, we're like, man, how sick would it have been if they had Myles Garrett? Kind of like how the Lions are good. It's like, man, how sick would it have been if Megatron was on these teams? Like, right. So that's what Myles Garrett is. He's one of my favorite players in the league, one of the best players you'll ever see in football. I have no problem saying that. Like, it's a shame because people don't see him. Like, people just go, he's just a stat pad. I'm like, do you watch the fucking games? Like I get it that watching Cleveland Browns games is a chore, but if you just watch Myles Garrett, it's worth it. He's so good. But yeah, I can't. This is why they're 14. It's because Myles Garrett's on the team. So if you have Myles Garrett, one of the greatest edge rushers I've seen in our time, I think you have a chance to win more football games than not.
That's a fair analysis. I have the Jets at 13. The Jets are a team that are currently in a state of flux, new head coach, new quarterback. This is a team that's going to have to run the ball a lot, and they don't know exactly whether it's going to be Breece Hall or Braylon Allen, who's going to be that lead running back. You have Garrett Wilson, but behind him, there's really not much. You have a rookie tight end as well. You have a defense. I will not take anything away from the Jets, and it's very interesting, isn't it, that for a lot of these teams, both here on the AFC side and on the NFC side, we will say things like, you have a defense, but we need to see this from the offense. And I think the Jets are a prime example of that. Like, I could see an argument to have the Jets lower from where I have them. But this is a team that really is in the stages of a rebuild, and we'll see how it turns out for them. But don't have high hopes for this year.
Yeah, I got the Jets at 13 as well. Because, like you said, it's just a quarterback situation. Like, when are we going to see Justin Fields put it together? Like, that's the main thing. Yeah. I do think like Aaron Glenn, he's like, and we talked about that when we previewed him. I think it's going to go just like how it went in Detroit for him. This year will suck for the Jets. They're not going to be a good team. But, the organization, they're going to be like, you know what, Aaron Glenn, we trust in the vision. We will trust that this team is going to be bad, and then we can make it better. They have a lot of pieces that are just tradable too, which I think is very important in power rankings, because you can trade a Sauce Gardner, you can trade a Quinnen Williams, you can trade, a Garrett Wilson if you'd like. Those are great tradable pieces, or they're good cornerstone pieces.
See, I would say that they have to be cornerstone pieces, particularly Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, because they just gave them their deals. They just gave them their deals, and the new teams are like, well, we didn't negotiate these deals. Yeah. Well, you don't want to have to pay these guys.
Yeah, no, but those are good cornerstone pieces to have.
Oh yeah,
for sure. But yeah, no, I think they're in a good. I think they're in a good situation to be better next year. I think Aaron Glenn will also be motivational enough to get them to win a few more games than they should. But it's on Justin Fields, honestly. Like, it's time to for all the Fields truthers, put up or shut up now for Justin Fields. Like, there's no more excuses. He's the guy. There's no one challenging him behind him. Let's go.
For me, I have the Colts here at 12. And my discrepancy for where you have the Colts and where I have the Colts is there's a name I don't think you mentioned as much, and that's Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor has like just game
when he's healthy.
When he's healthy, of course, but that applies for a lot. That applies for a lot of these teams. But when he's healthy, he has incredible game.
You've seen Daniel Jones play football, right? I'm just saying.
It is Jonathan Taylor.
He has Saquon Barkley at home behind him now. It's like, oh, I had Saquon at one point.
But it's a situation where, like, for example, if Jonathan Taylor doesn't make one kind of silly mistake of dropping the ball before he walks into the end zone against Denver, I don't think Denver's in the playoffs because I don't think they would have necessarily won that game. Yeah. That changed the entire game and how both teams were playing, because I think, if I remember right, Denver scored on that drive, and from there, that's where you see the Benito, jumping in front and getting that pick six. All of those things change, and the Colts are a team that, between Jonathan Taylor and especially Tyler Warren. If Tyler Warren is the tight end that people believe he is, this kind of Swiss Army knife, then he allows this offense to move a lot better. And for all the knocks against DJ and even Anthony Richardson, the one thing that an inexperienced or even if you want to say bad quarterback, either Tony or DJ respectively, needs is a solid tight end. And if Tyler Warren can be that, then the Colts have the ability to move the ball a little bit better. That's allowing Pittman, Downs, Pierce, Adonai Mitchell to get more open and get where they need to be. So I think the Colts have the ability to outperform a little bit. I still have them in like that 12 ranking, but when I say outperform, I mean outperform the teams that I have below them. Who do you got at 12?
So 12, my only reason is because the next two teams I'm going to list are bad teams, but I do believe that their coaches are tryhards and they'll get them up there. But 12 is Jacksonville. I think it's the Jaguars for me, because I don't know about this Liam Cohen character, kind of shady business. Like just that alone. The Travis Hunter experience will it be what it was in college? I'm not sure. It's the NFL. It's way different. He's playing with a bunch of also really talented players. It's different when you're going against comm majors that are just playing football. It's different when you're playing NFL players that get paid a lot of money. Defensively, not in love with this team besides Josh Allen Hines. Like, not much to love about this defense. They just kind of pay players and then they hope they turn out well. Trevor Lawrence, another situation. Hey, they gave you what you want. You are the franchise quarterback. You have an offensive-minded head coach that has shown that he is good with a lot of quarterback projects. He worked with another number one overall pick, Heisman winner, and Baker Mayfield. Well, Trevor Lawrence never won a Heisman, but what I'm trying to say is Baker Mayfield was a guy that played well under Liam Cohen as the offensive coordinator. You have a stud wide receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. You have a potential stud slot or outside wide receiver in Travis Hunter. They have plethora of running backs for you to hand off the ball. Which one, we don't know yet, but they have plethoras. You have everything you need. They rebuilt that offensive line. It's time to show up. You got the generational tag. Everyone was crowning you before you ever came into the league, and you haven't performed to the standards that I've seen him in college. Like, he is, like, in college, like, you watch him in college, like, he was much better in college than what you're seeing in the NFL. And it's just like,
you know what? I think it's a testament to Trevor Lawrence and part of why people continue to rate him highly, that Clemson ain't done shit since he left.
Yeah, no, Clemson is like Clemson's still a good program. It's just they're not the national powerhouse that they were. Like, under the Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson era, they were a powerhouse. They were a powerhouse. And Trevor Lawrence, like, just being honest, didn't have the weapons that Deshaun Watson had, working with him in college. Like, Trevor Lawrence's weapons, like, if you look at all the Clemson wide receivers in the NFL compared to, like, what Deshaun Watson had, like Mike Dubb, Sammy Watkins, a bunch of, like, studs that, made it into the NFL. Obviously didn't have, like, the great NFL careers, but were good in college. Trevor Lawrence's crew was just Hunter Renfrow and a couple other, sometimes a little bit other. Like, he didn't really have, like, the best Clemson teams, and he did well with them. And that's why I was high on Trevor Lawrence, where it's like, hey, man, like, you're able to uplift the players around you. That's, like, an underrated trait as a quarterback. It's easy when you're Justin Fields in Ohio State and you're throwing to all the best wide receivers in the country, compared to, like, like Mac Jones too at Alabama, where it's like, oh, cool, you get to throw it to Jalen Waddle and Heisman winner Devonta Smith. That's awesome. Like, that must be really hard for you. Oh, and Najee Harris is a Heisman contender too at running back. That's really hard for you, Mac Jones. Feel so bad for you. Trevor Lawrence didn't really have all that. So, like, to me, I just feel like with Lawrence, I just need to see something from him because I think he's talented. I think he can be a really good player, but I have to see it. And I don't know if Liam Cohen, if he's the type of guy like a Vrabel or Carroll, who will be, spoiler, the next two teams on my list, like if he can force them to win games that they shouldn't.
Yeah, that's why I actually have Jacksonville at 11 for the same reasons that you mentioned. I do think that they have the opportunity to be really good, though, because if BTJ and Travis Hunter work well together, especially when you've got a tight end like Brenton Strange, who goes under the radar for a lot of things, but he really filled in well for Evan Engram when Engram was banged up during last year, and I think because of that, that's why Jacksonville felt comfortable with letting Evan Engram leave in free agency and go to Denver. So, like, if he works out and Travis can work out well with BTJ, this offense does have the capability of being really good. Now, my big question for the Jaguars outside of the defense is the run game, because ETN definitely has taken steps back. And yes, they have Tanks Bigsby, but they drafted Bashal Tutin. Who exactly is going to be that lead back? More than likely it'll be ETN, but Liam Cohen is also a guy that likes to mix things up. For example, Bucky Irving was not anticipated to take the lead role from Rachaad White, but he got playing time in the Liam Cohen offense and then did what he did. And they also had Sean Tucker there, who would flash but never was able to see the field because of injuries, but a solid talent. And now they have a very similar issue here where will Tutin be the guy that leapfrogs ETN and Bigsby? And you could argue that the Bucs probably should have shopped Rachaad White, and maybe they did, and they just couldn't get enough back for the trade.
Like, we don't want this guy. We're not trading. We're not. You can cut him and we'll get him, but we're not trading for him.
It's a situation where it's like, what was going on there in Tampa Bay from the running back room as to why Bucky Irving was able to leapfrog, and I'm wondering if we're going to see something similar. And if Tutin hits, then they've got a very good offense to be able to move the ball and score points and kind of take that pressure off that Jaguars defense. Who do you have at 11?
I got the Raiders at 11. Pete Carroll's going to find ways to win games. He's going to motivate them. I like Geno Smith as a starter. I think he's fine. Receiving room is still kind of working. It's just Jacoby Myers and a bunch of great prospects that the Raiders have kind of built up, like Trey Tucker. I think he could actually be a solid receiver in the NFL. Like, that's a guy that, like, I think could actually be really solid for them. But let's see how he develops. They drafted a kid that I like too. Running backs, it's Ashton Genty time, and then they also have old man Raheem Mostert as well. So that's a good, reliable running back room. Brock Bowers is a beast. Defensively, they have some questions. They let go of some good young prospects. But they still have this guy called Max Crosby, who just is a living nightmare and just wrecks people. So, I think the Raiders are a much better team than people want to give them credit for, and it's mainly because Pete Carroll's their head coach. And this guy will motivate his players to play above their levels that they know how to play and stuff. Like, how long before they get sick of it? Because Pete Carroll, Carroll, he's not on the. Harbaugh is a goofy coach. But Harbaugh finds a way where people still magnetically love it, where it's just like he kind of like have like this weird magnetic personality.
Yeah, he does weird shit, and people are like, "That's just Jim."
Yeah, like Pete Carroll. Is it really you, or is it just a gimmick of the coach? That's where I feel like people can just like, it's not as genuine as Jim. Like Jim Harbaugh, like people are like, man, Coach Harbaugh's goofy. Like, is he always like this? And then you hear stories that he goes fully clothed in a cold tub. Like, he's wearing his khakis and his polo, and he jumps in a cold tub and stuff. Or, like, did you hear the Donovan Peoples-Jones recruiting story?
No.
So, Jim Harbaugh went to Donovan Peoples-Jones's place for recruitment. And Peoples-Jones was kind of, like, on the fence. He didn't know if he wanted to go to Michigan. But he said that he changed his mind because Jim Harbaugh slept on his couch. Like, Harbaugh slept on a couch, made him a peanut butter jelly sandwich, and then took a shower fully clothed.
Okay. So hold on. the first two things you said, I was like, all right. And then you got to the third thing. And
Yeah.
like, wait a minute.
That's what he did. Because Jim needed his clothes to also be clean because he had another recruiting trip to go.
And Jim was like, I never take Michigan blue off.
Yeah, exactly. So that just shows where it's just like Harbaugh is just who he is. While with Pete Carroll, it's like, is he really like this up rah guy, or is it just like that's the persona he is, and then behind the closed curtains, is it someone else? Like
that's fair.
Yeah. So like, I mean, there's turmoil with him, Russell Wilson, for fuck's sakes, and those two should have gotten along perfectly for years.
My next team is going to be the New England Patriots.
Yeah, you can put them at 10 for me as well.
This is a team that has a lot of question marks. New head coach. They've got the technically not a rookie quarterback anymore, but he didn't play the full season. He had Jacoby Brissett there for a good bit of time for some reason. They brought in Stephon Diggs. They still haven't fully figured out the wide receiver room. They also brought in Matt Collins, which is a bit of an indictment on Jalen Polk and Javon Baker. But you've got Pop Douglas. You've got Hunter Henry. You drafted Travion Henderson. Henderson has real, honest to God, real home run hitting ability. And we have seen that in the preseason. Granted, it's against second stringers, third stringers, whoever. But if he's able to continue to develop and do those sorts of things when it's up against actual first string competition, Patriots can really do some things. The question is it this year? And I don't anticipate it being this year. I think it's more of a situation of it's a next year, 26 or potentially even 27, because to me, they're going to need to find that wide receiver. That ultimately is the question.
Yeah.
And to me, it would be either sign whoever you need to sign in free agency or draft wide receiver high, and then everything else needs to be defense and O-line, because you feel as though you have the quarterback, you feel as though you have the running back. That defense needs to get better, and that's Vrabel, right? Like that's going to be Vrabel's bread and butter. So if he's able to coach up some of these guys on defense and they continue to bring in talent, the Patriots can go far. But for right now, they're number 10. How about you?
Yeah, so it's just Vrabel. He's such a try-hard. He's like one of those guys that make the team around him better and stuff. So for me, I just think that Mike Vrabel will just make this team better. And it's just like, I like what I saw of Drake May. I think it was a nice little sample size to say like he's going to be well off. I think defensively, this team is going to be a lot better too. I just think it's just Vrabel is just one of those guys. Like he's just such a tryhard that it's just like, okay, they're going to play well. Like we saw with Tennessee, those teams weren't like super duper impressive, but he got them to the AFC Championship and stuff. And if it wasn't just for organizational differences, he would have still be the Tennessee head coach. I mean, he was the runner-up for many head coaching positions. Like a lot of teams were like, "Hey, if this guy didn't come around, we would have chosen you." Like and stuff. Like, and it's just like, "Hey, like you're not beating out Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh." I'm sorry, Vrabel. Like you don't have that pedigree yet. Like you're a great coach and stuff. And I think him being home in New England and kind of being like Vrabel's going to be like the new Bell. I would like to hope to say this. Hopefully, 10 years from now, we still see Vrabel with the same goatee, the same haircut. Maybe it's a little bit grayer on the sidelines and stuff.
Yeah. So 9 is tough for me because for me, it's between the Miami Dolphins and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I want to say like the amount of talent. See, it's a tale of two stories, right? For me, because on the one hand, you have the Steelers who don't have the greatest talent in the world on offense, but they've got a really good head coach. Meanwhile, the Dolphins have a lot of talent on offense. I don't know with Mike McDaniel whether the head coach is the issue. And it seems that, like, you keep seeing this in the body language when McDaniel's having his press conferences. It seems as though they're headed for some kind of a split. Tyreek Hill keeps grumbling and causing issues. But like, how do I put the Steelers them above the or below the Steelers when I'm looking at Miami and going, it can be a track meet game almost every single time,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel as though Miami can win more of those than Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm gonna put Miami at 9 simply because I trust Tomlin to at least get to 9-7.
You can put Pittsburgh at 9 for me. You know me. I'm on the top. This is the year. The losing streak is the downfall of Tomlin is finally happening. But for me, yeah, and the Steelers. It's just they're just one of those teams that, like, to me personally, it's just like, yeah, it's just I do think Aaron Rodgers still has something left in the tank. I just don't know how well he's going to get along with Arthur Smith. And I don't know how well he's going to build that relationship with DK Metcalf. That defense is still really good.
Yeah.
But like you said, I like Miami's capability of being able to score fast if they get back to those ways and stuff. And we have to see that this year. So that's why they're a little bit lower of a team and stuff. But yeah, I think the Steelers, they're fine at 9.
And I gave away my number 8 team with having the Steelers at 8. Who do you have at 8?
Yeah, I got Miami. I agree with what you. I agree with what you say. It's just like,
so we're both kind of like who wins out?
They're kind of it's just Miami. They have like this scary potential. Like Miami's like that great potential team where I could easily have Miami at like my number 5, but last year was just such a mess. I saw Tyreek Hill give up on the team. I saw Jalen Waddle gave up on the team. We don't know the whole situation. Defensively, they seem to get banged up all the time. They're talking about trading Jalen Phillips. There's just certain question marks with this Miami team where it's just like, I don't love those question marks. But if this team is healthy and good, they're easily one of the top 5 teams in the AFC.
Oh, yeah.
But if they're not healthy and good, then they're just kind of one of the worst teams in the AFC and stuff. So, like they have a lot of great pieces. It's just you have to wait and see with that one. So,
all right. This one is also tough, and we are getting into that tough span, right? Because these are all we are now at the point where we are picking, in essence, the playoff teams for the AFC, because there's going to be 7 of them. So the question is just, where do we have all of this shaken out? I want to put Houston at 7. I really do. But the question marks around the Bengals defense just scare me too much. Because the thing is, so the Browns, right? We talked about if you're scoring 10 points and you're only allowing 17, you're still losing the game. I believe that the Texans, in a situation where that defense is so damn good, even if they are allowing 17, they're going to be able to score 20. Just because of CJ Stroud, just because of Higgins, because of Nico Collins, and now with Higgins and Noel, seeing how that shakes out, they brought in Christian Kirk. The question marks for the Texans for me is the running back room, because you brought in Nick Chubb, you drafted Woody Marks, but we really haven't seen Joe Mixon on the field.
Yeah.
But speaking of Joe Mixon, his previous team, the Cincinnati Bengals, this offense I know can put up 40 to 50 points a game if they really, wanted to. Mm-hmm. My problem is I don't believe that the defense can stop another team from scoring 40 to 50 points in almost any situation. And it kind of sucks because, like, they got to get better there. And unfortunately, when you have such a highly offensive powered team, you have to spend that money on the offense to keep those players. And they spent that money on Burrow. They spent it on Chase and Higgins. And so there's not as much left over for the defense. But, man, if Cincinnati can figure out something with that defense, they'll be higher. I don't think they're challenging the division winner that I have for the AFC North, but they would be higher on where exactly they shake out on the overall rankings.
Yeah, I actually got the Chargers here at 7, just because, like, there's still a lot of question marks. They lost their left tackle, Rashawn Slater, this season, so it's just like that's a huge blow to the Chargers. I know Joe Alt can just play left tackle, but still some offensive line concerns. I know Harbaugh is going to overcoach. They're going to win a lot more games than expected. It's just for the Chargers, it's like I look at the roster and I'm just like, man, this roster's still kind of rough. And there's like, it's not a lot of good depth. I know they're going to find a bunch of players. Like the Chargers offseason is going to make a lot of changes. Joe Ortiz always just finds people, brings them in and stuff. But when it comes to like firepower, there's games where the Chargers look like they can kick anyone's ass. And then there's games where it's just like, they only have 20 points? Like, how? How do you only have 20 points? Like, that makes no sense and stuff. So, even though I think they do have the capability to, work with this 2 running back system that they have with Hampton and Najee Harris, and those 2 will actually go good, I just think that, like, offensively, there's a lot more question marks then there are solutions, and we'll have to wait and see how those question marks pulled out. Defensively, even though they don't have like the biggest names on defense, I still think this is a really, really good defensive unit. They're still going to do a lot of good things on the defensive unit. But offensively, there's just a lot of question marks that still need to, like, is Greg Roman washed? Like, is Greg Roman washed as a play caller, or is it just something that, will flourish over time? So
I tell you what it is. That quarterback's overrated. But see, here's my problem.
Beer.
Here's my problem. Oh, that's what I should have let off with. Your thoughts on that. But here's my thing. I was debating, right, Cincinnati or Houston at 7. My problem is, if I go with Cincinnati at 7, I had to figure out whether it was Chargers or Texans for 6. And I saw that playoff game.
Yeah.
So I have to put the Chargers at 6. And for a lot of the same reasons that you listed, it is just a question of if the Chargers play ball control offense, which it seems as though they want to do, it's going to be hard for teams to score on them. But if the game gets away from them and they have to switch back to up-tempo, can they do it?
Yeah.
To your point about who is going to be there besides Ladd McConkey. So we'll see how all of that really shakes out. But if they're able to keep close games, like 24-20, you win. We're on to Cincinnati, to quote Bill Belichick. But who do you have at 6?
I have the Denver Broncos at 6. I do like the changes that they've made on defense. I think Sean Payton will have them win more games, and they're going to play well. But for me, there's still question marks with the running back room and the receiving room. It's just sudden. I think Bo Nix will also kind of have a sophomore slump. But I think with the way Payton coaches his quarterbacks and the addition of Evan Ingram, it won't be as harsh as Jaden Daniels' sophomore slump. I think teams know what to expect with Bo Nix, and I think they're going to kind of Josh Allen light with Bo Nix a little bit more. I think Bo Nix will be running a lot more this year and stuff. So, whatever his props is for rushing yards, I think that'd be pretty solid to look at. But I think Denver's just one of the better teams in the AFC, and I think they just got a bad draw that they had to face the Bills in the first round and stuff. And once they get the talent around them, that's fine. But defensively, I think they've added really good pieces that will just help boost that already good defense, and that defense will keep them into games.
Yeah. For me, I've got the Broncos at 5. This is a team that has completely kind of revamped their image with the arrival of Bo Nix, and now in this second offseason, with Bo at the helm, they've added Evan Ingram, they've added RJ Harvey, they brought in J.K. Dobbins. This is a much better offense on paper, of course, but this is a much, much better offense. And if they're able to, do better, just do like mildly better, they have a very good shot of being a playoff team, of winning a wild card game, winning the super wild card divisional round, whatever you want to call it, and making it into the next stage of the playoffs, which really is the goal. Like, I know Peyton was talking about like, oh, could be a Super Bowl winning team, but realistically, it's incremental progress as long as you are continuing to move forward. And if you can do that, like, you and I respectively have the quarterback who has the number 1 rookie touchdowns and the number 2 rookie touchdowns. And it's a situation where if Bo had been able to throw a touchdown in the first 3 games, he would have tied Herbert's record. And so it's like, and now granted, his numbers did end up getting a little artificially inflated because of that week 18 game against the Chiefs, where he's playing the Chiefs second string and he throws 4 touchdowns. So it sort of averages out, but like, it's also a situation where, like I said, incrementally better. And if you add the Dobbins, Harveys, and Ingrams of the world, you should be able to pull that off. And now you have the ability to really squeeze that middle section of the field between Singleton, between Greenlaw, and you just added more and more depth to that secondary. It's a very scary defense to have to play against. Who do you got for number 5?
Well, I just want to add Justin Herbert played one less game than Bo Nix, and no, two less games than Bo Nix because he wasn't the starter against the Bengals. It was
Well,
Tyrod
listen,
Taylor. I'm
it is what it is. It's not
just
my
letting
fault that
no,
they didn't want to start him.
just letting you know. Just letting you know. Number 5 is the Houston
Yeah,
Texans.
and Bo was playing with a jacked up back for this back half of the season.
Okay.
Who do you got? Sorry,
Texans.
Texans.
They're good enough to beat all these teams below them. They ain't good enough to beat the teams ahead of them. I can't break it down any more than that. That's just what they are. Like the Texans, like they'll beat these guys. Everyone below them, oh, Texans can beat them. Everyone above them, that's the question mark. Like they're the person on The Bachelor that thinks they're gonna win, and then all of a sudden they don't get the rose. And like, what?
Oh,
How? I thought he liked me. Yeah. So the Texans, like I think they have, they have a great pass rush. They have great secondary. I think Stroud's is fine at quarterback. He's a winner in the NFL. But yeah, receiving room is kind of whacked. Running back room is kind of banged up. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they're not beating my top 4 teams that I have.
I have the Texans at 4, just because, like I've said, really the question is the running backs. If you can get a 75% Nick Chubb, that's amazing, and they can go far. If you get Joe Mixon back, and then you have Mixon and Chubb, they can beat some of the teams above them, and that's what I'm interested to see, whether or not they can pull that off. And I trust CJ Stroud to be able to figure things out with the receivers. It is kind of a situation where it's like, as long as CJ Stroud is Nico Collins, I believe the Texans can win a game.
Yeah.
Who do you have it for?
The Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals, they are a very stellar team. Offensively, defensively, yes, there's concerns, but I think they don't care. They're going to outscore everyone. This is going to be like LSU, Heisman, Burrow. It's going to be Burrow for MVP. I think that's the best bet that you can make this season. I think they're just going to be really, really good offensively. That the defense won't matter. They'll get to the point where teams just have to keep up with their pace and their tempo, and I don't think they'll be able to keep up with the pace and the tempo that the Bengals will play and stuff. So as long as they don't get in their own way, if the Bengals can stay calm, get out of their own way, they could be a really good football team. They could be number 1, but they're not number 1, sadly.
And I think everyone either watching this on demand live or myself and Chase, I think we all knew that the top 3 were going to come down to these 3 teams. It's just a question. It's just a question of how you picture them. Yeah. And for me, it's Kansas City Chiefs at number 3.
Really?
Now this is a situation where do you want to bet against Patrick Mahomes?
I should be number 1, man. The fuck is this?
Do you want to bet against a team that has the power of Satan, Beelzebub, Lucifer, Mephisto on their side? No, but at the same time, they have easily proven that they are beatable in certain situations, and the teams on this list can beat them. Now, one of them has never done it, so we'll see how that shakes out. But you kind of want to do the thing of any given Sunday versus 9 out of 10 times the Little Giants will lose, but that one time, that's kind of what matters. But the Chiefs are a team that are in a very interesting position because they're sort of in flux. They are transitioning away from Travis Kelce. They are trying to see whether or not Jalen Royals is going to be a solid wide receiver 3 with the Xavier Worthies and Rashee Rices. They still have to figure out that running back situation. Pacheco is a solid running back, but he's not really a game winner. And the defense is starting to age. The defense needs to be refreshed as well. And balancing all of those needs is something that is pretty hard. But Brett, why am I forgetting his last name? The general manager of the Chiefs has shown some very capable ability with that. The question to me ultimately is Travis Kelce, because Kelce is nowhere near what he was before. But can you be it's I can't be what I was before, but can I be one time? And this is a situation where for this year and for next year, they need to figure out who is going to be the tight end successor to Travis Kelce. Who do you have at 3?
I got the Baltimore Ravens. They can't seem to beat the 2 teams that are 1 and 2.
That's fair.
So that's why they're below there. Lamar just doesn't become Super Lamar against those teams for whatever reason. Like, he'll be great against all these other teams, and then he faces these two teams, and then it's just like, whoa, what happened?
Hey,
But they are.
Hey, man, where Isaiah Likely's foot came down, that's not on Lamar.
How he played the first 3 quarters is on Lamar. How are we talking about? But, honestly, I on paper, they really are the number 1 team on paper. It's just, from watching all the games and stuff, it's just like, I can't, because you guys tend to lose to these teams when it matters the most. And that's what I'm looking at there. Like, on paper, yeah, they're my number 1. But in terms of, like, power rankings and stuff, they have to be number 3 for me.
That's fair. I see this is super tough, because you know how much I like ball control offense.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put the Ravens at 2 as well. I think I know who your number 2 is.
Who do you think it is?
I think it's the Bills.
No, it's the Chiefs.
The Chiefs.
Yeah. Come on, Rashee Rice might be suspended for some games, man. No, I think the Chiefs is just one of those things. I just need to see them kick other teams' asses and stuff, and then that's pretty much it. They're still one of the best teams. Obviously, they beat the Bills. It's just right now, I would rather much have Josh Allen as my quarterback than Mahomes. Where it's just like Josh Allen, I just trust in Josh Allen a lot more than I do a Patrick Mahomes in terms of like the regular season. Playoffs, a little bit of a different story. But even then, I felt, the Bills, they kind of just shot themselves on the foot on defense in that game. I didn't really blame Josh Allen for that loss. I'm like, if the Bills just were more comprehensive on defense, they could get to Mahomes.
Hey, you and I talked about that too.
Yeah, like
before the game.
Yeah, I don't really blame the Bills for that one, but I do think the Bills they're that one team where it's just like they can control the ball on offense when they need to. They have a quarterback that is just a Terminator that like if Josh Allen ever goes down and gets hurt, I'll be shocked. I'll be like, what the hell? He got hurt? Like, there's no way.
My concern with the Bills is twofold. First, Tre'Davious White got injured. And yes, he just returned to the team, and yes, they drafted Maxwell Hairston, but like there is
something got hurt too.
Yeah, but there is something to be said for like veteran leadership.
Yeah.
The other thing is, as much as I trust Josh Allen and I trust James Cook, if this team could just get a wide receiver 1, or Keon Coleman finally steps up, because like his rookie season, you're a 2nd-round pick, I get it, but like if he can step up, this team can really go far, because they do not have that dominant wide receiver, and thus so much more pressure is put on Josh Allen to find ways to just get people the ball and move the ball himself. And it's very interesting, because remember last year we didn't do a power rankings, but one of the questions that you had was, who is Josh Allen going to throw the ball to? And he seems to get it done no matter what. The question is, what happens those every couple plays where that person, just because of talent, position, like where they're at in the field, whatever it is, doesn't catch the ball? And thank God that they paid James Cook, because they really, like, James Cook is the 2nd most important person on that offense after Allen. So this is a interesting kind of setup for our power rankings. For us, if the Super Bowl is being played tomorrow, in essence, I guess we are saying that it is Buffalo Bills versus Philadelphia Eagles. Now, technically speaking, I know you said you have the Vikings winning out in the NFC, but we have pretty similar rankings. The only places we were kind of far apart was the Raiders in the AFC, the Bengals in the AFC, and then in the NFC side of things, I think we were kind of apart, like distance-wise, between the Panthers and the Commanders. But yeah, I mean, this is a pretty solid exercise to do before the season starts, and I'm interested to see like what next week's going to hold for these 53-man rosters, because like, you have to imagine some of these teams making trades and trying to figure out who's going to be practice squad, who's going to be on the full 53-man. We are going to be seeing all of that, but we want to thank you guys for tuning in as always, and Chase, let the people know where they can find you, my good sir.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Chase Oliver 68.
And you guys can catch me here on the True Hill Heat Sports Entertainment Show or channel with various different movie reviews, TV show reviews, and every once in a while I pop over onto the main channel to cover some of the wrestling and pinch hit when people are otherwise engaged for live streams. But until next time, guys, we want to thank you all. Actually, Chase, is there anything? I know we haven't covered Hard Knocks as of yet. I think we can definitely do that for next week. Get through like what Hard Knocks episodes have aired. But is there any kind of topic that you would want to try to tackle next week? We will be able to talk about all the 53-man rosters kind of fully.
Yeah. I think we can talk about some surprising roster cuts and stuff like that. Yeah, we can do that. Like nothing really too much, to be honest.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like kind of like it's like that weird period and stuff. We can't really predict yet. We have to
the calm before the storm, or you know what we should do? Futures.
Oh yeah, we should look at some NFL futures. Yeah,
we'll look at NFL futures.
Like I said, Bo Nix rushing yards. I think that could be if it's like 400. I think he could get 400 rushing yards.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will.
Oh, I think he will.
I think his rushing numbers come down because the reason why he had such a high rushing numbers.
No, I think he's going to be Josh Allen.
No, but the RB1 last year was Javonte Williams.
Yeah, but I'm telling you,
it's J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey.
And I'm telling you, he's going to be read optioning a lot this year. Bo Nix.
But alrighty, guys. Until next time, remember to take care of yourselves and each other, and we will catch you all later.